Yeah, it's almost exclusively found in the Underdark, which if you don't know, the Underdark is like a domain of one of the worlds in the 5e mythos, which I think it's actually called Forgotten Realms. That's what you're supposed to call the planes of reality. And it's on like, if I remember correctly, it's on Toril, which is a seemingly normal-ish world, except for it's got a really weird past, like it was two worlds or something, and then some god ripped him in half because he was angry. Maybe it wasn't because he was angry, maybe he was just jealous at another god. I don't know. The gods here in the Forgotten Realms play kind of like gods in the Roman or Greek pantheon, and that they're really mortal and they're all kind of dicks, even the good ones.
Yeah, they're just doing it for fun.
Yeah, they're just doing it for funsies. Like, there's two gods that I can think of in the pantheon that were actually humans. And one of them is, if I remember correctly, he's the god of luck, and he was just some like bard that was just really, really good at being a bard, and through some unknown means got the current god of luck drunk and bet him that he could take over his position and somehow won. And then the old god of luck was like, "Well, looks like you're the new god of luck." And he was like, "Well, I don't want to be the god of luck." And they were like, "Too late." And then he ascended. Anyway, that has nothing to do with the Roper. The Roper lives in the Underdark, and
Yeah, man.
it's just extensive worldwide caverns. And it's one of the scarier places to go in the Forgotten Realms.
So speaking of those caverns, I just discovered their migratory habits, and they tend to migrate through underground caverns, but there's variants of ropers where they can't migrate through these caverns, and they've evolved on the surface of the world where they take shapes of dead tree trunks instead of stalagmites.
Oh, cool. That's good to use. Oh shit. That would be great to use in the Curses Strahd campaign.
Right? The gloomy forest?
Yeah, always looking for weird, creepy shit that can attack the players at any given time. And trees that are creepy and can attack. Hell yeah.
I feel like this guy he's doing too much work. You know, why don't I have like two separate creatures? One that's in the forest and one that's in the caves. You know, it just doesn't seem reasonable.
Well, it's a variant.
It's a variant. So a lot of this game, Matt, is just taking the base and then just torquing it to how you personally want it.
Yeah, you should treat me like a person who's never played D&D, but who's like absorbed it through all its various, you know, uh, leaking into other pop culture.
Don't worry.
I don't know if that makes me useless or what, but yeah, I'm like a 5-year-old when it comes to understanding how D&D is played. This guy's got 6 nubs.
It does. And talking about those nubs, there's it like can reproduce, it's regenerate its tendrils like a hydra.
That's annoying.
Yeah, but
Icky
like what do you think those tendrils are made of?
hair.
I'm sorry, did you just say hair? They're a
Yeah,
stalactite.
man, I'm reading the monster manual here. This sends out hair-like growths.
So, with these tendrils, like if they're hair, like could you farm a tendril from a roper? Like if you just caught a roper in a cage and then you just infinitely cut off its limbs, like would it run out of resources to regrow these tendrils?
Gotta come from somewhere.
Um, no, well, you could play it like that, but it explicitly states that destroying a tendril deals no damage to the roper. And within one turn, so within 7 seconds, it can regrow a tendril.
Exactly. That's a lot of tendrils. Like could you start like a whole like fiberworks factory and just create clothing out of roper tendrils?
I mean, it also says it's very sticky, so you have to deal with that somehow. You have to mitigate
All
it.
right, so you make those like little sticky hands that you get in a gumball machine.
Okay, what are you using these roper tendrils for, though? Why do you need like a couple hundred?
for anything, because it's free resources. Like you could figure out a lint roller, use it as a lint roller. You could sell these.
It seems more like it would be that hand that's always gets really sticky and hairy really quickly. Or it starts really sticky and then gets like hairy and dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the gumball
Oh,
machine.
that's what you're talking about with the gumball machine. Yeah. So they would,
Yeah.
if you could find a way to wrap them in plastic and sell them, then it would be about that. Oh, but the question is, could you farm one?
Yeah, like could it sustain itself to continually produce these things?
I would say a tendril can be broken if a creature takes an action and succeeds on a DC 15 strength check against it. So DC 15, I mean, if you intentionally, if you just go by the rules, which most definitely the person that made the roper wasn't thinking someone's going to farm this.
Right. But I mean that's kind of what I'm here for.
Sam brings the capitalism.
But I would, what I would say is that you would have to roll a strength check every time you took one off. And if you got above a 20, the second that you get above a 20, then it would not regrow back. You've eliminated the hair making ability on him because he's got to have like, a stamina check. There's got to be some sort of check that makes it possible to not farm him infinitely. Like it has to be fair,
Yeah.
even for NPCs.
I mean, here's a question: what is like the scale of this thing? Like, how big is the tendrils?
Oh, it's 9 feet tall and 4 foot in diameter, and it is 2,200 pounds, which is 997.9 kilograms.
So I feel like those tendrils are gonna be like thick, man. Like they're gonna be huge.
Yeah, they'll be beefy. Like you can hang a chandelier with this if you want.
No, well, the tendrils only they have a 50-foot reach, so you can consider them 50 feet.
Jesus. So like 50 feet long and like 6 inch radius or something. Like those are some beefy boys, man. I don't know what you're gonna do with those.
You could use them to rig a
sell them to
ship,
sailors.
right?
Oh,
Oh, maritime, man.
wow, great maritime men think alike. The minds of great maritime men think Eldingly.
But yeah, that's where I went is like big like fishing ropes or make nets out of them. You could do things with them. You could make a giant slimy basket.
If you're a really fat ogre, you would want one so you could unwrap it and like in case you drop the TV remote on the ground when you're in your lazy boy, you can just slap it and it'll come right back to you. You don't even have to get up out of your lazy boy.
Oh, back to the hand. That was such a good toy, man.
Yeah, like the hand that you get out of a gumball machine.
It was because you could wash it off with dish soap, but no one ever thought to
Yeah,
do
that was.
that.
That was almost as good as stretch arms.
Exactly. Pro
No,
move,
it
man.
wasn't.
Wash it off. Just clean it, and it's sticky and brand new again. I had so many of
I
those.
didn't know that.
I got one stuck to my ceiling once. All right. So, what I'm also reading here is that despite their monstrous hunger and evil natures, ropers are intelligent and insightful creatures. In the time between feedings, they learn about their surrounding underworld and contemplate philosophy.
Wow, that is very unexpected, seeing as it looks like a mindless, gross sack of shit. Like tight.
Yo. So what is like the nature of good and evil in this world, you know?
Oh, damn. Whatever, man. I mean, the underworld is vast and full of uh like their own deities and stuff. Well, like I guess the natural state of the underworld is like I would say some form of evil, probably lawful to chaotic evil. And so they're like thinking evilly. So what's some insightfully evil things to think about.
Like, are they just thinking, philosophizing the types of creatures that might wander within 50 feet of them? Or are we talking about like deep existence kind of things?
I mean, okay, what's their intelligence? So their intelligence is where is it? Okay. It's a -2. They've got 7 intelligence, but they've got a 16 wisdom +3.
What's the difference?
Okay, so they're probably, yeah, they're probably not thinking about like tactically their surroundings. They're thinking about, why do some people not immediately try to kill me? If I was a person, a stalactite, a drow, I would immediately try to kill that thing. And it's weird that sometimes I get people that just walk past and, they're not just attacking everything. I attack everything. Something like that. They're an evil creature and they're very dumb, but they're pretty wise.
Yeah, Sam, you omitted like the coolest sentence there about religious pilgrims sometimes brave the lair of a roper for a chance to learn the creature's insight.
I was getting there, but yes, that is the coolest aspect. So, like, a religious pilgrim actively seeks these creatures out to gain what insights they pulled from the caverns. But like, what kind of insight are they looking for?
Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, but it also in tiny, tiny little letters it says citation needed.
Well, there is that. Religious pilgrims sometimes brave the lair of a roper for a chance to learn the creature's insight. Yeah, this seems pretty far-fetched. They're neutral evil. They don't have a patron. So
Yeah, it's on the Monster Wiki, the fandom.com page.
I don't know why religious pilgrims would come, and I don't know why these things would be so insightful.
Is it an insight that they can tap into, kind of like a memory log?
What?
I've been watching a lot of Westworld.
Yeah, like I think their natural language, so they speak one language, and it's, where is it? They speak primordial,
Love that.
Ooze.
and it's a language of primordials and elements. It's the
Yeah, it's like the language of the underground, Underdark, right?
Well, Underdark has its own language. It's called Undercommon, but Primordial is like one of the base. It's an old language, and it's mainly spoken by elementals and primordials. I'm not sure exactly what the Roper is. I think it's just a monstrosity.
Yeah, it's monstrosity, neutral evil.
So maybe, I mean, what you could do is, if you were a real evil, you're a really evil priest, you may wander in and ask this roper and abyssal like what the meaning of slaughter is or something.
And then lure him back into your cage where you farm tendrils from him.
Yeah, theoretically. I mean, if you want to, yeah, if you want to be an evil priest that sells tendrils,
I want to start a roper farm.
it's a big universe. You can find a niche for that.
And I'm also reading on under the ecology of ropers. So ropers eat any meat but prefer demi-humans and humans, gnomes, dwarves, and other mining races.
Yeah,
Right? But they also have a gizzard-like organ which holds undigested treasure.
yeah, that checks out.
So when you kill a roper, you roll like 3d6 for platinum,
Oh,
and it's got like a 35% chance of holding 5d4 worth of gems.
That's cool.
that's pretty badass. Bet you he gets one hell of some kidney stones.
They're just rubies. So how would you use a roper in a campaign, Kyle, as a dungeon master yourself?
Well, like we previously said, or maybe we haven't because you're going to edit this around, but there's kind of, I see it as two cool potential ways. And the first one is a really large stump of a tree in a creepy campaign, like the Curse of Strahd would be great for the tree form of it. And you can make it, like I think a really cool part of this, it's a fairly strong monster, but I think that if, say, you put it at the edge of if you've had like a boring day and you want to throw some action into your session real quick, just put like one of these at the edge of the campsite and see if anyone strolls past, and make them roll like perception checks. But this thing can just be, it kind of looks like, unless you get within 50 feet of it, it's probably going to just rest, or not rest, but wait. It's more of a surprise animal. While the roper remains motionless, it is indistinguishable from a normal cave formation, such as a stalagmite. So then, say one of the members needs to fetch water or wants to do something on the aside, it can give a jump scare to that one, and it sucks it up with the reel. The roper pulls each creature grappled by it to 25 feet straight towards it. So suddenly you just got one guy that was just starting to walk away from the party, and all the other ones are getting ready to camp, when boom, now they have to like all run over to this. So the same thing can be said with going into a cave. You're filing them in. The worst way to do it was if they're like single file going through a small cave, and then the first one encounters it gets reeled, ripped forward 25 feet straight. Everyone's just running over themselves. That would be really great. You could do some really messed up stuff with this roper. Go into a forest, a haunted forest, and suddenly, you describe all this what do you call it? Not outcrop of trees, but like a bunch of trees all together, a grove, but they're all ripped off at the top and none of them have like the leaves or anything like that. And so if your party members are like dumb enough to be like, that's weird, let's check it out, they just run into a group of ropers.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
That would rip up a party pretty quick. You would really mess up a party doing that.
Yeah, it'd also be a really good mechanic to pull the party members into different directions if you had multiple ropers.
Each roper has 6 tendrils at a time, and each tendril can be attacked
Or farmed.
or farmed. It's also got multi-attack, and then it's got bite. So even if you're up close to it, it can still do 48 plus 4 piercing damage, which is an average of 22. And that's significant. I would say, I'm not sure where it says the challenge rating.
It's a 5.
Oh, challenge rating 5. Yeah.
So what that's like a level 5 character, right?
Yeah. Like one of these could take on a standard party of level 4, I would
Okay.
think.
So
But
if you had like 4 of these, like just displacing the formation of like a party of like level 18s, right? Where they're not really a threat, but it's more of like a positioning thing.
yeah, exactly. Level 18 would always have their way around these at that point. Whatever class you invest in, by level 18, you're almost a god. So it's more like level 5s, a group of 4 level 5s would be able to take on 4 of these. But if they got separated each, like a grove of ropers, separated all the party members with their reels, it may be able to just tear them apart.
Yeah,
Yeah.
would its bite be like an instant kill on like a low level person?
Depends on if it grabs and reels a wizard in, and the wizard hasn't really invested anything in armor or is completely unprepared, and it doesn't have any shielding, like magic shielding or anything like that, then just its HP, yeah, like 1 or 2 rounds may be able to, kill a mid-level wizard.
Yeah, because like so if the tendrils are 50 feet long and the real ability means grapple pulls them forward by up to 25 feet. So you got like 2 turns before you're like in its mouth, right?
Um,
Let's say up to 25 feet, I guess. So it could be more. Maybe you got to roll for that or something.
Grappled by it up to 25 feet. So what you could do is at 50 feet, it could hit you with a tendril. So it would be slapping you from afar. Yeah, I think that at 50 feet, it would be able to grapple you, and then it would be able to reel you 25 feet in. So then it would take 2 turns at 50 feet before it's able to bite you.
Right. So your party still has like a chance to save you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's such a small chance. It seems crazy, man.
Yeah, because what's the average move speed for characters?
Like 30 feet, I think, for a mid-size.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it'd always be like just getting there in time. And if you miss that one attack, then they get bit.
If you were initially standing right next to him, if you were standing like just a little like one square back, you would have to sprint.
Right, and use double action for movement.
Yeah, yeah. So it'd be difficult to keep up. You'd basically just have to sacrifice, unless you had something like Bull Rush or something else that you may be able to attack. It would probably be best to just like don't worry about the guy and just go straight for the tendrils. Because if your party member is grappled, you could just like throw some shit or shoot at ranged, hit the tendrils, and then that would drop them.
All right.
Could you like throw like a barrel or something at the tendril to like tie it up, like make the tendril stick to it?
Are you thinking about Half-Life right now?
Yeah, dude, like the barnacles, right? That's exactly what I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Just throw an exploding barrel at it.
Yeah, an exploding barrel would definitely work.
yeah. It would have, because it's an intelligent creature that philosophizes, I would suggest dressing the barrel up scarecrow style.
I mean, it's only got 10 hit points per tendril. So, yeah, like throwing a explosive barrel would be more than enough to blow it apart.
Okay, so Mr. Dungeon Master, here's my final question about the Roper is what would the lowest player character level be to make the Roper a viable boss? And what's the highest player level to make it even worth putting in your campaign?
There's no high because it would be really funny to, with like level 18 character, have your characters just be surrounded by ropers, have like 30 ropers around your party. And like they would be overwhelming with all their tendrils and grapple abilities and reeling. So by 18, you're almost certainly not going to die to a number of ropers because you just have so much like AoE stuff even. But it would be a real funny thing to, with like a party of 4, throw in 20 ropers. They just like walk really deep into this cave and they're like, something's not right. And then just realize that it's ropers everywhere.
Yeah, and just render their movement completely useless for the next 10 turns.
And they'd figure out a way. If they're level 18, they're figuring out a way. But then on the flip side, it would, you know what it'd be? It wouldn't be like a difficult fight because it's like high level or like a boss or stuff. It would be a difficult fight because it'd get really technical. You'd have to really consider your actions and be like, what can I do? How do I get out of being grappled, avoid getting grappled, and deal with 6 shitty tendrils all coming at me at the same time per roper. So if there's like 20 of them, like it would just get so annoyingly overwhelming.
Yeah, you kind of have to use like riot tactics, right? Where you sequester some ropers and then handle with those and then slowly chip off the mass.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now with the low end, I would say just one roper for a party of 4 would be, it would be an interesting fight. I mean, he's got +7 to hit, which means on a D20, anything that he rolls, he adds a 7 to. So even if he gets like a 10 out of 20, he's almost a 17 is almost, that's hitting most people except for probably the ones that have heavy armor. And then at an average of 22, I think it's like what, 3 or 4 hits for even like a really beefy high constitution player. So it would get, I think a party of 4 would get uh it would be an interesting fight. And if you screw it up or get really unlucky, maybe someone would be downed.
Yeah.
So it'd be enough. 2 of them would be a serious issue.
Here's a question for you. So, like the stuff that's in the second edition monster manual that isn't mentioned in the fifth edition, does that mean it's been retconned or something like that? Like those things aren't true anymore?
Yeah. Each edition overlays and just like whatever changes, you just go to the latest edition canonically.
I feel like that applies for number stuff, but as far as the lore goes, like you can't take lore away.
I mean, the for instance here is that
Yeah, what are you talking about?
the second edition says that it's a solitary creature. So like there probably wouldn't be a group of them, right?
Oh,
Well, there's nothing that I read in the 5th edition that says that it's not solitary.
Right. The fifth edition doesn't mention anything about that at all.
So unless it's, I think that it's with pretty much all expansive lore. If it doesn't answer, but it's, or rather, if it doesn't, if the newer version doesn't say anything, but it's coming from the same official creators, then if it's not superseded, it's still correct.
so it is a solitary creature.
So it is a solitary creature.
Well, that just ruins the last 10 minutes of what we were talking about.
Not necessarily.
It says ropers are not social and rarely cooperate with one another, although a group of them may be found in a good hunting spot. A group of ropers has been named a cluster by scholars.
Okay, so it would just be in a good hunting spot.
Yeah. Also, remember, this game is made for you to change up how you want to. So you can make for your, campaign for whatever, you can say these ropers hunt in a pack.
Right, yeah. This particular tribe of ropers joined together,
Yeah, it's a priesthood of ropers.
sharing their philosophy.
Yeah. What would you call them? A priesthood or a congregation?
Oh wait, no, this is this was listed. They are called a cluster of ropers, which has been determined by people that had too much time on their hands.
Yes.
That's in the wiki.
Like us right now.
I know, right?
What are they saying here? Come on.
I think this is it's pretty cool format for like a thing to do, right? Like we talk about a monster, I'll sculpt the monster, and then I can just like give away the file, the STL file, for people to 3D print and use in their campaigns if they want to.
Right on, dude. Yeah, I dig that idea. It would be cool if people actually do that.